He ain't ready. What up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the motherfucking live stream. My name is Nicole Pludre. I will be your host for today, and we are going to be talking about what do you do after a relapse. So, if you're somebody who's been struggling and you need some support, you need some tips and tricks on how to handle relapse, then you've come to the right place, baby, because I'm what you call a professional relapser. That's right. Back in my day, I was called the chronic relapser of the land. That's all I knew how to do was relapse. So, of course, I got some bomb ass get back on track plans for y'all since I am such a great relapser. So, come on in. Don't be shy. Come hang out with us. The reason I have so much experience relapsing was because I tried to get sober for about 10 years in and out of a 12-step fellowship and rehab. And I needed something more than both of those things could give me. And I didn't know that because none of that was offered to me. When I was finally offered a different way to recover, which was medication-assisted treatment, therapy, and a 12-step program, guess what happened? I was successful and able to stay sober, and I have been for 7 years now. Hot diggity damn. So, that's what we're going to be talking about. You're going to talk about relapse. So, if you live to tell the tale after relapsing, you need to stay here and listen to what I got to say.
Well, I'm going to get in the shower.
Hey, Sonia. I hope you feel better, girl. Hey, Brenda. So, what makes me qualified to share these tips and tricks with you? Well, I was a raging drug addict for about 15 years. It started out real simple. I was drinking alcohol and smoking the ganja. Wanted to fit in with my friends, and slowly but surely, I started being introduced to new things. I tried cocaine. Then I tried methamphetamine. Once I tried methamphetamine, I was like, hot damn, this is where it's at. And I stayed on the methamphetamine train for, the whole 15 years. Throughout that train, though, I did get high on opiates and benzos also. And my opiate addiction got so bad that it rivaled my methamphetamine addiction. Like, they were both like neck and neck. So that's how I got on medication-assisted treatment, was because I had that opiate addiction. I used drugs and alcohol because I didn't like the way I felt on the inside. I felt very insecure and unsure of myself. And because of those insecurities and that low self-esteem, it really just drove me to use drugs. I felt like when I used drugs that I was better. Hey, Carla, that I was better. I miss you too, girl. I felt like I was better. I felt like I was cooler. I felt like I could do things better than I could. But that was all a lie. Those are the lies that drugs tell you. In fact, drugs didn't make me better at all. They made me worse. But I couldn't see that because I was blinded by my addiction. When you're insecure and you don't love yourself, it's easy to be tricked by substances and believe that you're better when you take them. A lot of the reasons why I thought I was better was because I struggled with my weight and meth made me skinny. You know what I mean? Or I was very popular when I was getting drunk and high, and everybody laughed, and I was the center of attention. So it's easy to believe that you're better when you use those substances. But once I started trying to get sober, it was probably around 2004 or 5 when I really first started going in and out of treatment centers, and I wanted to get sober because I was starting to have really negative consequences. I was starting to lose my jobs. My parents didn't want me living in their house anymore, so they kicked me out. And so as those negative consequences started building up, I started trying to stay sober, started trying to change my life. You know what I mean? I don't know who I am sober. It's very hard. Yeah, it's hard. Then that's what it was for me. I felt like without drugs, I was boring, and who would want to be around me? But now that I've been sober for 7 years, I realize how amazing I am when I'm sober. And now I know that why would people want to be around me when I was fucked up? I was a liability back then. And now I realize why all of my friends that were not drug addicts that I hung out with, they all distanced themselves from me because they were like, whoa, Nicole is out of control. Like, we can't be around her. She's going to fucking get us arrested. She's going to die in our house. Something bad's going to happen. And I can remember all my normie friends just totally cutting me off, totally distancing themselves from me. And it broke my heart because I did not understand why. But now I totally understand. People will compliment you on losing weight. So it totally makes you think in your mind like, well, so-and-so sees the change. And that's exactly what happened because I was losing a lot of weight. People were noticing it. People were complimenting me. And that even that reinforced it, right? Like, oh, wow, I need to keep doing this. So I think the first time I tried to get sober was I went to Quapaw House Incorporated, and I think it was like 2005, 2006. And I met my best friend Scott there. And when we graduated, we both were like, okay, we're gonna stay sober. And he actually moved to Hot Springs and went to a sober living, and I went back to my mom and dad's house. And we both got jobs at the same place. We both had sponsors, and we were working the steps, going to meetings, and really, really wanted to be sober. And let me just tell y'all something. Every time I tried to get sober, I wanted to be sober. Okay? Like, my life from the beginning, from that point, was had already begun to be fucked up by drugs. And I was seeing how my life was getting fucked up by drugs. And so I wanted to get sober. I hear a lot of people will say to people, well, you must have not been willing enough to stay sober, or you must have just not been serious. No, that's not how it is. Just because somebody doesn't get sober on the first try doesn't mean they weren't willing enough, or they didn't care, or they weren't serious. Okay? That's not what it was. I was very serious. I just didn't know how to stay sober. When you practice getting high every single day, and that's what you know how to do, and then you're trying to get sober and stay sober, and nobody shows you how to practice staying sober, it's really easy to fall back on your old habit, right? Because that's all you know how to do. So I hate when I hear people say things like, oh, you must have not been serious enough, or you must have not really wanted it, or you must have not been willing enough. Pfft, bullshit. That's not what it is. It's not easy to get sober and stay sober. If it was easy to get sober and stay sober, then everybody would be sober. If it was that, if we could just stop using drugs and change our lives like that, there would be no treatment centers. There would be no Alcoholics Anonymous. There would be no other programs. There would be no therapy, and we would all just stop. So to say stuff like that, like, oh, you must have not been willing enough, or you must have not wanted it enough, I feel like that's kind of like a spit in the face. You know what I mean? Don't say that shit to me. I wanted to stay sober. Every time I tried to get sober, it's because I wanted to get sober, And after failing so many times and getting kicked back down, you start to get discouraged, So that first time I tried to get sober, I made it 6 months. And this is a big deal. Like, that was my first time ever even trying. And I made it 6 months, and then I relapsed. And for me, like, my relapses, almost every single time I've relapsed, almost every single time, it was because I placed my job before my recovery. That's one thing about me, is that I'm a really, really hard worker. When I'm employed, I want to be the best employee. I want to work the hardest. I want to get the raise the fastest. I want to be promoted. And so that's what I always did. And so anytime I would get a job in recovery, I would always put that job before my recovery. It's almost like I couldn't help myself. You know what I'm saying? It was just like muscle memory for me. And so once I got sober that first time, I got a job working for a restaurant where I was waiting tables. And this was the first job where I had ever waited tables. And I loved waiting tables. One thing about me is that I love a crowd of people. I love waiting on people. I love helping people. I love bringing things to people. I love like thinking, oh, they need a drink, I'm going to go get it before they even ask. Like I'm a pro when it comes to waiting tables and bartending. So they put me on that, first job, and I was like, bam, 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 I loved it. I loved it. So when I started seeing all that money roll in, and I was making hella fucking cash, it was like, oh, this is where I need to be. This is what I need to be focusing on. Like, I'm sober, I'm doing good. And so I started putting my job at the very number one priority of my life. And one day I was at work. I had gotten out of my support system. I had stopped calling my sponsor, and Miss Connie had some methadone 10s, and she offered one to me, and that's all it took. I took it, and then we were off to the races. We were off to the races, honey. And that's all it took, was literally one methadone, and I was like, ching, ching, and that was my first time really ever trying to get sober. And I started doing pills, and I got off on them really bad. This time when I got off on pills real bad, I was actually buying from this guy, Somas and Klonopins, right? And he was fronting them to me in like large quantities because he knew I was waiting tables, and I would just bring him the money after my shift. Well, I started dipping and dodging him because I didn't have the money because I spent it on pills somewhere else. And he started looking for me. And I'll never forget it. I went over to Big Mama's house to get some pills one day, and I walked into her house, and she was acting funny. And I shut the door, and he was standing behind the door. And he said, bitch, give me your fucking money. Big old black guy. And I was like, damn the fucking shit. So I had to give him my money. He was like, why did you fucking run away from me? Did you think that you were going to be able to keep buying pills in Hot Springs, Arkansas without me finding out? You know what I mean? And I was like, well, I tried, And my I was able to run away from him for a while. You know what I mean? But I ended up getting caught up. So, that's why when I tell you guys, like, I was on methamphetamine and then I was on opiates, because what I would do in my addiction was, I was like a chameleon. And so whoever I was hanging out with a lot of times would be the drugs that I was abusing, right? And so after I got out of treatment, I went into treatment for meth, benzos, and opiates. I got out of treatment and got back on the benzos and opiates really badly, right? And then I went back into treatment a second time. And so the second time when I got out of treatment, then I went back on methamphetamine and started hanging out with this dope cook. And that's when I got my felony charge, possession of a controlled substance. Now, any time after this, when I went to treatment, like, I would try to stay sober and I would get a sponsor, but I was getting so discouraged each time, right? Each time I would come out and I would relapse, I would get even more and more discouraged. And then I went to prison, and I feel like prison was what I had to go through to, like, realize that my life is really getting fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm fucking in prison, dude, for possession of meth. Like, I never would have thought that that would happen to me. Like, I was raised up in a good family. My mom and dad were amazing people, like, I could not believe that I was in prison for possession of meth. And so when I got out of prison, I knew that I wanted to set myself up for success. And so I paroled out to a sober living house here in Little Rock. And I started going to meetings. I got a sponsor, and I was doing so good. This is the longest amount of time I stayed sober for. But looking back on this time and me being able to tell you guys, because it was a relapse, I had started working. I got my car back. I was working for Kroger, and within 5 months of me getting my job, they promoted me to assistant manager. And y'all, when I tell you guys, I was balling out of control, because what they did is they picked me and like 5 other people from the deli and the bakery, and they sent us to Memphis, Tennessee to redo the schnookses there. So Memphis used to have a line of grocery stores that they called Schnucks. So we took these Schnuck stores and took everything out of the building and turned it into a Kroger, and made it and put everything in it that was Kroger, made the displays, everything. Okay, so we were there working from like 3 o'clock in the morning to like fucking midnight. You know what I mean? Like madman. We were working so hard. So I was getting like my check on a Thursday was like $3,000, in one check. And so while I was on my little mission with everybody was drinking. The Kroger had given us credit cards, and so we could pay for everything on this credit card. And so everybody was drinking. So that's how it started. I went to the bar with all my fucking work friends, and we drank. And then I met this guy who was the son of one of the managers. And of course, he had Klonopin. And that's all it took. That's all it took. And I was back to the races again. But when I look back on my relapses, I see, like, that's what happened. I let my jobs take priority over my recovery. I would always let something come in and push my recovery out of being number one. Since I've been sober this time, I've been able to incorporate my job into my recovery. So I can't go wrong now, because I was thinking, you know what? I cannot make the same mistakes that I made back then. I cannot let my recovery take second place to my jobs. And so when I got my job working with Austin and Dr. B, it was like, holy shit. Like, my job is literally recovery. Like, I'm able to, like, even when I'm managing somebody else's account, I'm managing an interventionist's account. I'm managing a recovery coach's account. I'm managing a medical doctor who's an addiction specialist account. And so it's like recovery is in my face 24/7. You know what I mean? Oh, what patches are you on? I don't know what patches you're on, honey. So that's what's been helping me, you guys. That helps me to stay sober so I don't go back to my old way of life, is having my recovery in my face 24/7, 7 days a week. If I didn't have that, I think I probably would have been struggling, you know what I'm saying? Because it's so easy for me to kind of fall back. A lot of another reason why I think what helps me now from relapsing is playing the tape all the way through. And the part of the tape that I play is when I lost custody of my son. That is really hard for me. Like, I have to really reflect on that and talk to myself, talk to you guys, and share that with you guys. And that helps me not want to go back. Hey, some people are getting on the shot. Be jamming 14U. A lot of people are getting on the Sublocade shot, which is buprenorphine in a shot, and then they're discontinuing that, and it's supposed to slowly leave your system over a period of time. But if I were you, I would talk to your doctor about the patches, because I don't know, I would imagine that if you take the patch off, that the medicine just leaves your system slowly. But I would talk to your doctor about it, because none of us, at least I don't think any of us, are any of you guys on the buprenorphine patches? I'm just on 0.25 of a strip, which is literally less than half of a milligram. And that's what a lot of people have been doing, is the shot. Yeah, it's called Butrans. That's what the patch is, Butrans. And they normally give people the patches for chronic pain. That's why you don't see a lot of us that have addiction with them. Yeah, that's what I would do, because I'm not going to lie to you, be jamming. I don't have a lot of experience with the patches, and I don't know a lot of people that have been on the patches. You know what I mean? The people that I do know have been on them for chronic pain. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, girl, buprenorphine has side effects too, like constipation and sweating. And so one of the things that I have been able to do that helps me with constipation is I don't swallow that crap after I let my sub melt. 7 years. I know I'm struggling with a migraine so bad that the other day I was just so much in pain. Yeah, Cece, are you swallowing your spit after you take your sub? So I know a lot of people get so mad at me when I tell you all this, but I'm telling you, I wouldn't tell you it if I didn't do it myself. I used to swallow the spit, and I couldn't shit, and I was having the worst migraines ever. Now what I do is I put my little piece of Suboxone underneath my tongue. I let it melt completely. And I wait like 10, 15 minutes. And then after it's completely melted, I spit out the spit. So that shot is the buprenorphine shot. It's called Sublocade. And they usually give the shot to those of us that are already on, you have to be on Suboxone already. Now, I don't know if they're using it for chronic pain, but somebody asked how to get off the Butrans patch. And so I was saying, you talk to your doctor about Sublocade, because that could be an easier way to ease you off of it. You know what I'm saying? Than just having to jump off. The Sublocade shot got me off subs. Hey, Blunts, how are you doing? How long has it been since you had your last shot? So I was having really bad headaches and constipation, and I went to my doctor and I was like, Doc, I'm having really bad headaches and constipation. And that's when he said to me, he said, are you swallowing your spit? And I was like, yeah, I don't want to waste any of it. And he was like, Nicole, you're not wasting any of it. It dissolves underneath your tongue and goes into your bloodstream that way. He said after about 15 minutes, you could spit that nasty shit out. And I was like, okay. So I started doing that. I've been doing it for 7 years. And so what I do is I drink plenty of water. Every single day, you will see me with huge cups like this full of water, right? I drink that. Now, my husband, he has constipation issues, and he spits too. But he has something wrong with his butthole. I'm telling you guys. Like, he's had constipation since he was a little kid. So he takes that, and he uses Miralax, fiber pills, and if he has to, he'll take a stool softener, and that helps him out a lot. And he does that normally. And a probiotic. Yeah, you haven't felt anything, have you? Oh, that's so awesome. I'm so happy for you. Metamucil pills with lots of water, and that helps a lot. Good, good. Yeah, my doctor, Dr. Mancino, he actually goes to like all these different states and does, he talks about Suboxone and teaches other doctors about it. Cause I just went straight to him and he was like, I guess it's cause like the filler in Suboxone, maybe that can help out, makes us a little sick. Some people have like, allergic reactions to it where it makes their tongue, get raw underneath, or even some blisters. So going on and off of them because sometimes the side effects are getting worse than it helps. That's the same dog. Oh yeah, I'm in Little Rock, girl. I live in Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas. Yes, magnesium. Now, if you really want to shit, magnesium citrate will make you shit your motherfucking brains out. It'll be like a watering hose. That's me, girl. That's me. Everyone who eventually wants to get off subs transitions to the shot before you get below 8. Yeah, that's what you should do, Cece. Kelly, I'm telling you, girl, plenty of water, fiber pills, Miralax, and like Stacy said, if you really want to go, get some magnesium citrate. But I would only use that in emergency situations because that stuff will literally make your asshole shoot like a motherfucking, like you're a, like you're a damn volcano. I'm trying to decide whether I want to go ahead and clean off now, but yeah, I would do the shot, Cece, so that way you don't have to worry, and just in case you like have a hard time, you know, you'll have the shot and you won't have to worry about it, you know? Did you have summer what? Level up. I'm so grateful for the Sublocade shot. I can't think of the name. So I haven't been to groups in like probably, I was in groups till I was about 3.5 or 4 years sober. and I've been sober for 7. So I haven't been in groups since like 2018 or 19, I think. But I see people, you know, when I go in the office and stuff like that. Yeah, so a lot of people, I didn't know. So here's the thing, okay? At the office I go to, because I already got down to below 2 milligrams, I wanted to get on Sublocade. I wanted to so bad. And I went in and I talked to my doctor about getting on Sublocade, but he didn't want to take me back up to get up to the right amount so I could get on Sublocade. And so I called every other Suboxone doctor here in Little Rock, and no other Suboxone doctors give the shot. And so it makes me mad, dude, because it's like, so do you guys want us to just stay stuck on Suboxone for the rest of our lives when we could get the Sublocade shot and basically get off of it? You know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like they want us to stay on it forever, because offering the Sublocade shot, you know, opens up that way for us to be able to get off of it. And for those of you guys that don't know what Sublocade is a once a month injection of buprenorphine, which is the active ingredient in Suboxone. And so you get this shot in your stomach and it lets it out over a 30-day period, so you feel like a normal human being, and you don't have to worry about dosing every single day. And then what they're figuring out is that a lot of people who have been able to discontinue the shot, and the medication leaves their body slowly over a period of time. So no withdrawal is what I'm telling you. So if you're on Suboxone and you're thinking about getting below 8 milligrams, stop. Wait. Call your doctor and ask him if you can get on Sublocade. Don't even worry about tapering. Get on Sublocade and then do that instead. So you don't even have to worry about the stress of like tapering and stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, Cece, you don't need to be trying to do anything on your own, young lady. Okay? You need to back it up, slow down, and don't need to be doing that. You do not need to do that. You need to go to the doctor, and if you want to start moving that way, you need to transition to the shot. Because, like, Cece, please, girl, you just got your daughter back, dude. You just got your life back on track. Cece, if y'all don't know, is basically might as well be my child, and she is trying to do some shady shit just by, I know something's going on, so after I get off here, I'm messaging you, because you do not need to do that. You need to have the extra support, and you need to go slow, because your life has just gotten back on track. You know what I'm saying? You just celebrated a year, girl. Hold up. I wish I could get the Sublocade shot, y'all. I literally take less than a half of a milligram. So I don't even take 1 milligram of Suboxone. But I did jump off in January, and I was off of it for 2 weeks, and I was okay, but I was depressed. So I got back on the 1/4 of a milligram, and it helps a lot with my depression. So I might just stay on that little piece for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? They told me 8 milligrams was too small, that it wasn't very much, and that I could not qualify for it. Yeah, that's not true. You can qualify for the shot. I know. It's okay, though. I waited like 2 years till my life was stable, till I considered tapering. Yes, and listen to me. Hey, Erin, what's up, girl? Cece, I'm not trying to pick on you, girl. I just know how bad you were off whenever you were like going to take your own life, okay? And so I just don't want anything bad to happen. Like, you just got your daughter back. Like, I literally got to watch you go from almost committing suicide, running away from treatment, then going back into treatment, to getting a place to live that is so cute. She has like a tiny house, you guys, that has like an upstairs that's like in an A-frame. It's really cool. And her daughter has a little bunk bed, or a little bed up there. It's so neat. And you just got your daughter back where you can have her. And I just don't want you to fall off. It's just too easy to fall off. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't ever want anybody to like feel like I'm picking on y'all. But listen to me. it took me, I'm a pretty strong person. It took me every bit of like 4 years to get to a point where like I was stable in everything. You know what I'm saying? And so I just don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to be hard or hard on anybody. I just don't want my aunt. I have my aunt bitching that it's getting legally high. I knew there was something else going on. I knew it. Fuck her. That's why I'll help you find somebody in your area that does the shot. So that way she can shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? I knew something was going on more than that. You don't need to listen to that. You know what I'm saying? That happens, and that's another thing. Okay, so do you guys know how many stories I hear of people whose family members do this to them, and then they go out, relapse, and die? Did you guys watch the lady on my page who I posted her story about her son? And she said that my son was sober for 9 months while he was on Suboxone, and I got to have my son back. But he went to meetings, and people at meetings told him that he wasn't sober because he was on Suboxone. So he got off of it, and he relapsed, and now he's dead. He literally died like 20-something days ago. In the video, she says 18 because it was then, but it's on my page. And that's what happens when you tell people that kind of bullshit. Okay? It literally is like saying, you're not good enough. Your sobriety is not valid. You can't be around here. Like, that pisses me off, dude. That pisses me off. You don't do that, man. Do people understand how much shame and guilt that we feel as people that are addicts anyway? And then having to get extra help. Like, I already feel like I'm fucking a loser. I already feel bad enough because I can't get sober the way everybody else got sober. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm already hard on myself, so why are you going to judge me? And that's why that is why I talk about being on Suboxone. That's why I share my story. That's why I make videos. That's why I am loud and proud, baby. I almost feel like, you know, if I got off Suboxone, then I would feel like, I don't know. I just like being on it and being able to share and people being able to relate and not feel alone. Whenever I do come off of it, of course, I'll share about that. But I really think that being on it helps other people to feel like they're not so alone being on it. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to explain to people in the recovery community who who post things like that and judge other people, because I really think if we thought about the things that we said before we said them, then we would, our words have so much power. Thanks, BJM, and I appreciate you. I can even do better. I can even think about the things that I say because it could hurt people, right? If I was going around like saying, oh, well, if you're on Suboxone, you need to get off of it by 1 year. That's dangerous. I shouldn't be saying that, right? If I say that, people take what I say seriously, and they might actually take my advice and then go out and jump off and die. And so that's why, like, even me, I have to be careful because sometimes I say stuff that could be, like, not good for somebody, you know? And I have to be really careful, and I'm trying to do better and better about it every day. You know, I have a big mouth, so sometimes it's hard. But I want to help people to not feel like they are different or alone, or I don't want them to feel ashamed. I don't want them to feel embarrassed to be on MAT. I want them to feel proud. You know what I mean? I know. It's okay, Blunts. I'll be all right, though. I'd rather be where I'm at than to be struggling. You know what I'm saying? So what will happen is eventually, because they're doing it with my friend Kevin, he was only on 4 milligrams. And so his doctor took the shot and dumped out some of it and only gave him a certain amount. So more and more doctors are starting to, what is it called? They're starting to experiment with the dosages that they're giving people. So as that catches on, it'll be better. And I bet it'll come up and I'll be able to do something like that. You know what I mean? Someone have holier than thou syndrome. Yeah. These lives are just like going to groups. Oh yeah, Jessica. A lot of people let their, a lot of groups like MAT groups, their doctors and their therapists let them count these as their meetings. My brother-in-law spent a fortune on, opiates, as that was his DOC, and subs saved him in his marriage. Hell yeah, Brenda. Do you know anyone from East End or Landmark? I used to live on the East End with Brittany, which was Miss Kim's daughter, because I went to RCA, which was Recovery Centers of Arkansas, and then they had that sober living called Williamsburg, and Kim's daughter and me got to be really, really good friends. So I lived with her in those apartments a little bit before you get to Kroger, and then I went to see, I had a guy that I bought drugs from, but that was like years ago, like 10 years ago. I wasn't even on subs for as long as you, only a couple of years, so I know you've been ready, and that's why you should try the patch. Are you talking about the Butrans patch? It makes me sad. When COVID happens, my counselor used to use you as meetings online format and a resource. Yeah. So that's what's up. A lot of doctors, which I was so shocked to hear that they actually let me do that. That they would let you guys use my groups as meetings. But you know what? It's just like going to a meeting. You know, we have a lot of support here. So, there we go. Now, I don't think my doctor would let me do Butrans. I think I would be more, they would be more apt to let me do the shot, only, dump some of it out, than they would do the patch. But I can always ask him about it. I don't think that the doctor I go is like this, but I do think there's some doctors who just don't want you to ever get off of subs. Like, they want you to stay on it because they're scared. A lot of doctors are afraid that if you get off that you're going to relapse. You know what I'm saying? And so I've heard a lot of people telling me that their doctor tells them, no, you can't taper. And I think it's because they feel like, what if something bad happens to you and it's while I'm treating you. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know. This damn thing. Oh, yeah. Fuck it. Fuck those places. That's how it is here. It's getting better, though, I feel like, in Arkansas. But it's still not as good as it could be. Sorry, y'all. The only reason it's getting better here in Arkansas is because, I don't know if you guys know who Jimmy McGill is, but Jimmy McGill is like, he's over the peer program here in Arkansas, and so he has been on social media a lot lately, and he actually has opened his mind more to MAT than I think he ever has been. And because of him leading in that way, a lot more people are opening their hearts and minds to MAT, which I believe it should have been like that a long time ago. UMS is still billing my insurance, and I haven't been there in over a year. Really? You need to fucking report that shit, girl. Are you going to a different place, or you just don't, are you just not taking subs anymore? Yeah. So that's why there's another doctor you can see, Jess. I don't know if you care to know this, but there's another doctor you can see that's in Little Rock that is a lot cooler. Her name is Jean, I think. My husband goes to her, and she is right off of University. Okay. And it's only like $150 for the appointment, and then your insurance pays for the medication or whatever. But that's like, so here's the thing. When at UAMS, for me, it started to be like detrimental to my sobriety, because I would like go there, and it was like I was treated like everybody else was treated, and I've been going here for 7 years and have never failed a UA. Do you know what I'm saying? And Miss Peggy and all them, they were just like, they just treat you like this, like a druggie. Like, and I'm literally been sober for the longest time out of fucking everybody that goes there, And so that's when me and my husband, we transitioned to a different doctor where we could just see a regular doctor, because it was like all the things that I did so well, and I was like staying sober and not getting any failed UAs or none of that, like I would still get treated like Joe over here who's fucking nodding out on fucking fentanyl in the group. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, fuck that shit. You know what I mean? Same. That was one of the last visits that I went to, was when I went to see Dr. Kumar, and I had my son with me because, who else is going to keep my son? And they said I wasn't allowed to bring him into my visits. And I was like, what? Like, this is my kid, dude. Like, I have to bring him in. So it's just, my husband, they had always treated my husband like shit. Like, they liked me for some reason, but they didn't like my husband. So anytime my husband would have any kind of situation at work, because he, works full time, they would like make a huge deal out of it, but they wouldn't make a big deal out of it if I had to do it. It was really weird. Oh, are you in Little Rock too, Jessica? Good, Cece. And I really, really, really had done so well in that program, and it was so discouraging because was doing so well, but I was treated so poorly. It was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like they treated everyone the same, which I don't think is fair. I don't think you should treat people who have been in the program for 7 years and never failed a drug test the same that you treat somebody who's just starting out. Like, there's a level of trust between us, Like, I never tried to flub my UAs. I was always there on time. I always paid. And they were making a lot of money off me and my husband because we were both going. You know what I'm saying? So, and there was a point in time where we didn't have insurance, so we were paying cash money. It's just a whole bad deal altogether. Then when I finally left them, do you know what? It took them over 2 months to realize that I wasn't going there anymore and called to check on me to see how I was doing. That's when I was like, it's all good. I was like, they don't even know that I'm not going there anymore. Like, they just called. It was so funny. So, to me, in the program, because I work for a doctor that is a MAT program. My boss is a MAT provider. And to me, like, when somebody comes to us that has been in our program for, 2 years or something like that, and they call me and they're like, Nicole, I'm running late today, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't penalize them. I say, it's okay. I understand we all have things that come up in our lives. Try not to let it happen again, but I'll let them know that you're running a little bit late. No big deal, but that's not how it was there. How do you handle a mom who is using? Hey, Trinity. Well, I'll tell you this, okay? When I was in my active addiction as a mother, I felt so much shame, but my little boy was less than a year old. Now, if I was using and my son was, 6, 7, 8 years old, then I would reach out to somebody that could help take those children out of that situation, like a family member, okay? Because you want them to be with family before you ever want them to go into CPS custody, all right? Believe me, I know. My son got put into CPS custody. So reach out to somebody that you know, like their parent, their mom and dad, or grandma and grandpa, anybody that can help step in and remove those children from that situation. Then, once the children are removed from the situation, then come in, offer help, go ahead and start looking up rehab centers that will take them, and have a list. Like, here's a list of treatment centers that you can go to. They're open, blah, 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 blah. Here's therapy, here's meetings, and have all that on a paper for them ready to go. You know what I'm saying? How can I help her? She keeps refusing the help. So, Post Girl, if she's refusing because she doesn't want to go into like residential treatment, that's a lot of the reason why people refuse, because they're afraid of withdrawal and they don't want to go to inpatient. Then tell her about medication assisted treatment. Tell her, hey, I know you don't want to go into inpatient. I know you don't want this help, but listen, I can help you get off the dope with minimal withdrawal. You can get onto Suboxone or you can get onto methadone, and you can stay on that until you can get strong enough to get off of it and be on your own without it. You know what I mean? Because I think that's a lot of the reason why people don't want to get off heroin or fentanyl, because they're afraid of the withdrawal, and they'll say things like, well, I have a job, I can't lose my job, or I have a dog at the house. Well, honey, if you keep on shooting dope, you ain't going to have no dog. You ain't going to have no job either. You're not going to have a house. You know what I'm saying? But we'll make excuses after excuses after excuses. I used to do it. I can't go to treatment. I got a job. I lost that job. So if that's her answer, oh, it's something else to be addicted to, listen to me, okay? It is something that she can be monitored by a doctor and help get off of that, because she ain't doing really good with where she's at right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's so funny to me when I hear people say that are drug addicted, that are literally doing dope, because it's a step in the right direction, and it will help her to be able to get her life stable. While you're doing heroin and fentanyl, there's no way you can have a stable life, because you're jumping around trying to buy it from this person, that person, this person, and you never know what you're getting, how potent it is, if it's that way or if it's this way. Getting on MAT is a great way to stabilize, okay? And it's safer. You know what I'm saying? It's safer. That way she won't get hepatitis C, HIV, all the things that go along with using drugs, I was that same way. I had overdosed so many times. And I'll tell you this, it's not because I didn't want help. It's just because for a long time, I really enjoyed the way drugs made me feel. I liked being high. I liked checking out of life. You know what I'm saying? And so it wasn't until I started to actually have, my phone is like dying. Okay, there we go. It wasn't until I actually started to, it wasn't until I had my son that I felt like I had something to live for. Do you know what I'm saying? Hey, Neil. I gotta go. Oh. Will you bring me my white charger? Yeah. It wasn't until I had my little boy that I felt like I had something to live for, because I didn't love myself. And that's probably what's going on with her, is that she doesn't love herself. And so it's easy to say, oh, I don't want to get sober, when we don't care about ourselves. But what I would talk to her about is, I would tell her, hey, you might not love yourself right now, but we love you, and we don't want you to die. We don't want to lose you. You mean something to us. And let her know that, because maybe that's why she doesn't want to get sober, because she doesn't feel that she's important, or that anybody would care if she was. Because what happens at a certain point in active addiction is we get to a point where we're hopeless. We run out of hope. And it's fucking a bad place to be, man. I felt proud the other day. I had to do a drug screen at my probation officer. Hey, that's always a good feeling whenever you can pee clean for the PO. I know how that is. Dude, I used to not be able to piss in front of my PO, and she was so mean. I know I've told y'all this story before, but she used to make me lift my leg up in the air and show her. And so one time I had to do that, and of course I couldn't push my pee out, and I was trying so hard to push it out. And I was trying so hard to push it out that I pooped on the damn right in front of her. I was mortified, dude. Mortified. And here's the thing, Post Girl. A lot of the times whenever somebody's struggling like that, or they're refusing to get help, here's the thing. I think it's always a good idea to reach out to somebody that's in recovery, another addict in recovery, and ask them to maybe reach out to her. And so that way that maybe they can relate to her. You know what I'm saying? And maybe they could talk to her and let her know, hey, I've been where you're at. I know what it's like, and you don't have to continue living in this life anymore. Some people enjoy doing drugs. Some people really like the feelings produced by drugs and alcohol, and they don't want to change their lives, and they don't want to get better because they think that it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Or they think that it's not hurting them. And it really, really is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe find somebody that you think can relate to her, because what she's doing is not even heroin anymore. It's fentanyl. You know that, right? Like, she could die, and it could literally be tomorrow, you know? And so maybe if somebody has done that before, if you could find somebody that she could relate to, maybe that would help a little bit, you know? Hey, Alex, the bad bitch, welcome. And the stigma is horrible when it comes to medication-assisted treatment. And a lot of it is from our own peers, our own brothers and sisters that are in recovery. That's why I think it's important for those of us who are utilizing the medication and it has helped us to change our lives. That's why I think it's so important for us to share our stories, you guys, because there's a lot of people out there who could have their lives saved too, but they're not willing to because of the stigma. And so we have to help break that stigma by sharing our success stories and letting people know, hey, look, I was addicted to fucking meth, oxys, Xanax, cocaine, and I was out there, dude. I was hallucinating. I was seeing shit that wasn't there. I went into a coma for 7 days. Like, my life was crazy, and I never thought I would get sober. Every time I would get sober, I would relapse, and Suboxone helped save my life, dude. It's changed my life. I'm able to, like, help other people. I'm able to, like, work a full-time job. And I would never been able to do any of the things that I do now if I hadn't gotten on MAT. Because I tried everything. I tried to do it without MAT for 10 years. And I kept falling off. And I remember asking myself, like, why can't I do this? Why does everybody else get it and I can't? Why are they doing good and I'm failing, you know? And then I realized after I got sober, because I was trying to do this, like, do you know it's all, how many percentage of people actually get sober through abstinence? Like, not a lot. Like, it's a small percentage. And so why wouldn't we want to higher those percentage rates by offering something that can help? You know what I mean? So I didn't realize, I thought that all these people were able to get sober through abstinence and I was just this, like, loser. You know what I mean? But that's actually not the case. They'll tell you that that's the case, you know, but it's not. You know, in AA and NA, there's not a big group of people that are able to get sober through abstinence, you know? Other influencers I found don't get into what they've gone through to get sober. Oh, honey, I'll tell you the whole story. It was hard work for me to get my life together. And like I said, I had tried to get sober for 10 years, going in and out of Alcoholics Anonymous and rehab. Okay, in and out. And I finally said, okay, I'll give Suboxone a try. And that wasn't until my son got taken away from me. And they said, if you relapse again, we're going to terminate your rights. And that was like a huge wake-up call for me. So I was like, oh shit, I don't want to lose custody of my son. And even though I got on Suboxone, it was still really hard for me because I was also addicted to stimulants, meth, and benzos. And so when I got on subs, it didn't cure me. It didn't take away the cravings for meth and benzos. Like, I had to work really hard. I had to go to therapy. I had to go to meetings. I had to work with somebody that was also in recovery that could help me because I was fucking struggling, dude. And then I started gaining weight. Okay. And then my mind was telling me that I needed to do meth because if I could do meth, then I would lose weight. You know, it was really, really hard for me, y'all. What I don't like about a lot of recovery influencers is all they talk about is the good. All they show is how amazing their life is today and how great they feel today. And it's like, that I'm going to tell you, I'm happy now that I'm sober, but like, it's not perfect and it's not all that great. Okay. I have struggles every single day. I'm a human being. I get depressed. I get overwhelmed. You know, I feel, you know, I have a lot of struggles. And so I really, really try to share things the way it is happening, the way it is then. Like, I would rather be, I would rather be authentic, honest, and genuine than to like put on this show that my life is perfect. Do you know what I'm saying? My life is not perfect. I gained 20 pounds and it's horrible. Yeah, I know how you feel, baby. I know how you feel. Listen to me, okay? What helped me was I had to start sleeping all the way through the night. That's when I was binging. I was binging in the middle of the night. So if you can figure out a way to wear yourself out to where you're sleeping through the night, it will help you a lot. So I've been watching a lot more of the Pat's Sober Living House things, and I don't know. I used to not like it at all. I used to think that it was weird that they were always recording, which I kind of don't agree with that part. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when a person is early and vulnerable in their recovery, that it's unethical to like record them and stuff. So I don't agree with that. Now, it's just, to me, like it just seems like a regular sober living place, but I think it's awkward that him and his wife kind of get so close to some of the people that live in the sober living. And then some other things that I don't like about it is like, I've listened to like podcasts and stuff where he was like talking about some of the girls in the house like being attractive, and I don't think that's very professional. And so I just think that he's unprofessional. You know what I mean? Like, if I was the owner of a sober living house, like I wouldn't be that personal and close to the patients that or clients that were in the sober living. I feel like it kind of like is stepping over a line. You know what I mean? But I mean, it looks like they have a lot of fun in there. You know, like from the outside looking in and the way that they post everything, it looks like they're having so much fun. Oh, who subscribed just now? Was that you, Sonia? Aw, let me see. Ba-ba-ba-ba. No, it was NC. What are you doing? Did you just subscribe? Thank you, my love. No, it was... Thank you so much. You did not have to do that. You know, I appreciate it, though, that you did. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, there's a little star up there. And if you want to support me, you can subscribe. It's $5.99 a month. Don't feel like you have to, but if you do, I really appreciate it. So thank you. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Like, I wish that I could do something like that, where we have like a sober house. Thank you, love. I wish that I could do something like that, where we have like a sober house. And, no, I remember your name. You told me the other day, Melissa. I'm just so thankful. Thank you. Like, where I could have a sober house, and I wouldn't tape inside the sober house, but like we could go on outings or something like that, where we go places and have like little, field trips almost. And I think that would be so cool. But like I said, I think it's really important whenever you're working with people who are new in recovery for them to have their like privacy. Like, your first year in recovery is like really hard, dude. Like, you're going through a lot of different feelings and ups and downs. And so imagine all of your ups and downs and all your feelings being broadcast on social media. You know, it can be I think it could be detrimental to your recovery. I really appreciate you, Melissa. Like, for real. Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it. And listen to me, guys. Like, I'm not the end all be all of recovery, but I really wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about like the things that I struggled with in my relapses, because I was actually sitting here earlier doing my makeup, and somebody had came in and said that they relapsed. And so when I got to thinking about how my relapses were whenever I was struggling to stay sober, and I was looking back at it, and I was like, dude, every time I relapsed, it was because I was placing my job in front of my recovery. Because I don't know about you guys, but like, I put a lot of my self-worth in the way that I perform, right? In the job that I can perform, and how I do that job and how much money I make. Like, having a job makes me feel whole. It makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Do you know what I'm saying? And so, when I would get a job and I didn't know how to balance that feeling, I would put all of myself into that job, and that was not healthy for me, you know. And I would put everything into it, and then I would take that job and it would be like what made me. And what I've learned today in my recovery now is that I have to have balance. My job isn't all of me. It's not what made me. Like, I have to have my job, my prayer, my meditation, my recovery, my son, my husband, like all these different relationships that I'm balancing in my life that are healthy in my recovery. Like, it's hard work to stay balanced. And that's one of the things that I have the most struggles with, is balancing my life now. Oh gosh, Jessica, everybody asks me that, and I'll tell you the truth, okay? Hey, Taylor, I don't feel like I'm smart enough, dude. I don't feel like I'm smart enough. I feel, there you go, Taylor. I don't feel like I'm smart enough. I feel like I would fail. Do you know what I'm saying? But maybe that's just me being lazy. I would have to look up and see how you do it here where I live in Arkansas. And, because I don't think it would be that hard. Because I think I would just have to get like so many hours or something. I think I would have to do it through like a social working degree or something like that. Went through identity crisis, finding who I was as a sober person. It's hard. I had a hard time with people, places, and things. Old people would message and I would relapse. That was one of the other things that made me relapse. Or that's another reason why I would relapse. Because I wanted to hold on. I wanted to hold on to those people for some reason in my life. I don't know if it's because like I missed the way my old life used to be, because when I was in my old life, I felt like I had so much fun. And now in my new life, I feel like I'm boring, you know, but boring is stability to me, because I'm not boring. I have a great time when I'm on here with you guys, you know, and I think that's when I'm the happiest, is when I'm here doing recovery stuff with y'all and I'm sharing with you guys. I feel like that's when I'm at my best here. And then when I'm with my husband and my son and we're doing stuff together, you know. But I went from being like, I felt like the life of the party, to being an old hag, an old mom, you know. But a lot of it was because I had no stability in that life, and I was just wilding out everywhere I went. And now I actually have like stability. You know, I have a roof over my head. I have a job that I work. I have a husband that loves me. And I didn't have that before. I was very, very unstable. And so it does take some getting used to. I will tell you that right now. Maybe next time I go live, we can talk about that. We can talk about transitioning into our new sober lives. I feel lost most days, like I don't know what to do with myself or my time. Hey, Alicia. So, Alicia, have you thought about like kind of getting into like, you know, being a part of a group like this, and, you know, getting with other people that are in recovery? What I did that helped me was whenever I first got sober, I was trying to find people like me who were on MAT, who were also serious about their sobriety, and I couldn't find any of those people in the regular meetings. So what I did was I started my YouTube channel, and I started doing this morning meditation. And so that's how slowly but surely I started meeting all these different people that were in recovery, that were using MAT, that were like really gung-ho about staying sober. And I got to be like the leader of this meditation group, right? And so that helped me so much, and it also helped them. And so that's what helped me. I started building like this little community of people, and that made me even more inspired to keep on staying sober and to keep on sharing my story and keep on helping other people. So when everybody says, oh my gosh, Nicole, you helped me so much, like legit, the whole reason why I'm helping you is because it helps me. Because it helps me stay sober, helping other people. If I didn't come on here and I wasn't accountable to you guys, I don't know if I'd still be sober still. So that's why I've been doing this since I started. In 2017 is when I started. And so I've been sober for 2 years when I started doing the YouTube videos. Yeah, getting a job is always a great way to Hey, Tiffany, to help yourself stay on task, because having a job and working it is an esteemable act. It builds self-esteem and self-confidence. So think about that. If you're having a hard time, try creating your own little group of people that you guys go live together. You read your meditations in the morning. You talk about what you're struggling with, what your triggers are, how to combat those triggers. Just like a little group to share in. You know what I mean? I think it really, really makes a difference. But darlings, I'm about to go wash my face because this makeup is killing me. Okay, I want to get all of this makeup and get my bare face. Also, I need to go get my son in his pajamas because we got school in the morning, okay? But for those of you guys that don't know, during the weekdays, I go live on Facebook at 3:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you guys want to join me on Facebook, come on over, 3:45 p.m. Central. My Facebook is Nikki, N-I-C-K-Y, Ploudre, P-L-O-U-D-R-E. The link is in my bio. And then I'll come over here after that around 6:30, 7 o'clock Central, and we go live here. So you can catch me here or there or both, whatever you want to do, okay? But I love you guys. Yeah, take us with you. Girl, I am tired. Y'all should have seen me today. I have been kicking ass and taking names when it comes to doing my live streams. I'll tell y'all about it while I wash my face. So I have, when I started doing my lives, and I have started to basically say, you know what? I'm going to do a live stream daily so that way I can get back on my program. Because I used to do live streams daily all the time, but I had kind of got off course a little bit. I don't know if it was because I don't know if I had gotten discouraged, but something was going on. Oh yeah, I know. Last year I was getting literal hate, and it was horrible here online on TikTok. And whenever you're getting like mass amounts of hate like that, this is the clinic, take the day off. It's really hard to want to come on and like be positive when you're getting it from all these different, and social media can be so toxic. Melissa, dude, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate you, girl. So that's what had been going on. So I kind of wasn't doing it as faithfully as I had always done. So I just recently, in the last month or so, started getting back on doing it really, really seriously at the same time and actually having topics that we talk about. And I let you guys choose the topics. So today, a girl came in and was talking about struggling with relapse, and that's what got me to saying, okay, that's what our topic will be for today, Because I think a lot of times when people relapse, you guys, they beat themselves up and they let themselves stay in shame and guilt. So it's okay to have a little bit of guilt, right, and to feel bad, but it's not okay to continue, okay, because that's what makes you stay sick. You know what I'm saying? When you continue to beat yourself down and you don't get up and pick yourself up and brush yourself off. All right, there's a healthy amount of guilt to have, but after that, it goes into being unhealthy. And so, for instance, I'll tell you guys, I have an unhealthy amount of guilt and shame when it comes to my son and my addiction. And that's not good for me, and I know that. I know it's an unhealthy amount because I let it get unhealthy, and I beat myself up about it really, really bad, And so, even though I know that I need to forgive myself and I need to let go of that guilt and shame, it's almost like I feel like I need to punish myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Because of the addiction that I had while I was pregnant. And that's not good. And I'm telling you guys, I can know that's not good, but I'm telling you that I'm being honest. Like, it's so hard for me. So I have to be really careful because that guilt and shame can take me back to my addiction. And I don't want that to happen. If I think I'm guilty and ashamed right now, imagine what I would